What's going on, guys? Welcome to another video tutorial by the Coder. Okay, so over the past few weeks I've really been listening to the comments and suggestions that people have been making on YouTube, and one of the biggest problems with a few of my previous tutorials was the fact that I put background audio on the videos. Now unfortunately I can't remove the audio from those videos anymore because I don't have the raw files and the raw footage from those tutorials. So like I say, I've been listening, and what I'm going to be doing is in future I'm going to be making a promise to you guys that any tutorial that I make will not have any kind of background audio on it, simply so as you can clearly hear my voice and you can clearly hear the instructions that I'm giving. Alright, so what I am going to do today is I'm going to attempt to recreate one of those videos as best that I can. And I'm going to be using Visual Studio 2017 and the Windows forms for this. So I will just put up the video in question that I'm going to be attempting to recreate. And it is right there, episode 1, which is working with basic forms, where I basically showed how people could use Windows forms to create some basic functionality and output some text and things like that on the screen. So I'm going to be recreating that, and to do that I'm going to get started by loading up Visual Studio 2017, and we're going to create a new project using the Windows form template. So we'll go to Windows Classic Desktop, we're going to select the 4.7.1 .NET Framework and select Windows Forms app. We're just going to call this something basic like YouTube tutorials, and then click OK to create that project. Alright, so once we create the project, we're presented with the basic form, and the one thing that I like to do before I do anything else is just resize the form and make it look a little bit better. So we're going to go ahead and make this 1280 by 720, and I always like to get rid of the maximise and minimise buttons and stop people from resizing the form. And we'll ignore that message. And we're going to set the start position to center screen so as it loads up right in the middle of the screen when we first launch the application. Change the text to the name of our project, so it changes the text in the top left hand corner here. And then we are going to remove the maximise and minimise boxes, so just double click on those there. Set the maximum size to 1280 by 720 and the minimum size to, again, 1280 by 720. And then we are going to remove the form border style, so that's the little icon that you see there to drag and drop it, to drag and resize. So we're going to go for fixed single, and we'll still see it there but we won't see it in the finished application. Next I'm going to go ahead and just make it look a bit prettier and download an icon from iconspedia.com. I'm in no way affiliated with this site, and half the time it doesn't work. Alright, so I'll just go to Google. And we'll get a YouTube icon. That one looks quite nice. Let's make sure that's the right icon. Yep, there we go. Alright, so that's in the downloads folder. and that just makes it look a bit prettier. Then we'll go to the project properties and change the default icon here as well to the same one, and then we'll press Ctrl and S to save that. Alright, so that looks a little bit better now. We're going to change the configuration manager to 64-bit, and then we'll just debug that just to see how we're looking so far. And that looks pretty good. Okay, so in the video that I'm trying to recreate, what I was doing was just showing how you can take some basic form controls and output some text on the screen or through message boxes and things like that. So I'm going to try and recreate that as best I can. I haven't watched that video myself, so I can't remember everything about that video, but I will do my best. So what we're going to do, we're just going to create a few basic forms, form tools or form controls to get us started here. So we're going to start off with a few text boxes and things like that. So we'll add a few labels. So we'll just copy and paste these, and we can tidy them up as well. And I'm going to try and make the spacing equal. Okay. Next, we're going to just go ahead and change these labels, and we're going to create a basic form here. So we're going to call this one username. Password, email address, and telephone number. Then we're going to go ahead and add some actual text boxes to these. So we'll go ahead and add that there, just resize that a little bit, and we will drop these in line here. There we go. So the password we're going to want to set to password character. So we'll change that to an asterisk first of all. Then we're going to change the name of these labels so we can access the name of these controls so we can access them easier in the code view. So we're going to go username box, password box, email address box, and telephone number box. I'm going to change these ones to username label, password label, email address label, and telephone number label. Oops, not laptop. Okie doke. So we've got a few basic form fields here. We're going to add some different types now. So we're going to add a couple of radio buttons. We'll go ahead and add 2. And we'll call this one agree terms radio, and disagree terms radio. We'll change the text on these to I accept the terms and conditions. and I do not accept the terms and conditions. Alright, starting to look a little bit more like a form now, and we're actually going to add another password character here, or another password field here. The reason for that is we can show you how to do some form validation and things like that as well. So we're going to go ahead and whoops, that didn't work. Alright, my computer seems to be lagging out a little bit now. There we go. So let's just move these back into the correct positions. And make all of those the correct width and things, or the correct vertical spacing rather. We'll change that one to confirm password. Okie doke, and we need the password character for this. That's already got it, that's fine. Okay, so what we need to do now is add some different types, a few more different types. So we'll add a couple of checkboxes, or we'll add one checkbox. And we'll change the name of that to monthly newsletter selection. We add a combo box. And we add another label. Current country. And as you can see, by the way, I keep changing things here. I am a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to creating forms and things. Okay, so we're going to edit this item in unbound mode, and we're just going to get a list of countries. We'll go for that one, I guess. Can we see a raw file? Yep. There we go. Okay. Next we are going to add a multi-line text box. And obviously this is just a pretend form, it's not going to do much other than just some basic validation things, but I do like them to look professional when I do create them. So we're going to go ahead and go for multi-line there. And there we go. And then finally we're going to add some buttons. So we're going to go for 2 buttons here. We're going to change the text on this to submit and reset. And that's filled the page up nicely. So we're going to change the name of this to submit button and reset button. And then that one phone signature box. Okay, so we've got a basic form here, and I'm going to go ahead and just resize these just a little bit. Move them over. And then we're going to go, whoops, don't want to add that. Okay, so next we're going to add like a kind of a console window. So we're just going to use the same multi-line text box. We're going to drop that there. I'm just going to resize this a little bit so we can see the screen. And we'll go over half the page. We're going to set the background colour on this to black with no border, and we're going to set it to invisible. And you'll see why shortly. The font, sorry, no, the fore colour, we're going to set to white, and that gives us kind of a console output style window. And then next we're going to go ahead and double click on this reset button here to bring up the code view and create a an action for the reset button when we click it. And we're just going to type in, we're just going to get all of these forms and just reset them. So we're going to go username box.text equals, and then basically nothing, just double quotes and semicolon. Password text box the same, and we're just going to copy and paste there. So we're going to copy that just to make it quicker. Confirm password box.text, email address box.text, and then what else do we have? Telephone number box. Then we have the current country drop down. Whoops. Then we have the foreign profile signature, and did it again. And then we have the console window as well, which we haven't actually named. console window. There we go. And console window.visible equals false. So let's just run that there and just see what we're working with so far. So as you can see, that console window is completely invisible. Excuse me. If we just type in some random crap here, and then click reset, you'll see that all resets nicely. Alright, so one thing I noticed just was when I was using tab to navigate, it completely skipped the confirm password. So the way we're going to fix this is by clicking on each one, selecting the tab index, and we'll set this one to 0. We'll set that one to 1, 2, and you can see where I'm going with this. 3, 4, whoops, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We want the submit as 10, 11, and 12. Okie doke. And then we're going to set the tab index on these so as we don't actually navigate to those controls to 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105 and 106. So then we'd have to tab, like press tab, like, oh no, hold on, sorry. Don't know why that went horribly wrong there. Okay, there we go. So next we need to actually make this form work. So we're going to double click on submit. Alright, so first of all we are going to create some strings to make it easy to access these controls, and I've already got these in a copy and paste which I've just done off video, so I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste them. So basically what this does is it will create a string for each username, for each control, and set that string to the value of what's being inputted before the submit button is pressed. So we've done one of those for each of the form fields we have, so feel free to write that down or copy and paste it, or copy it into your own project. Next we need to create some sort of form validation. So first of all we're going to validate that all of the fields have a value and that the fields are, some of the fields are of a specific length, such as the username, password, etc, etc. So for that we're going to use some if or an else statements. So we're going to type in if username double equals, and then 2 quotes, which means if username is nothing, or if there's nothing in the username, or if the username dot length is less than 3, for example, then we use the curly brackets and our code goes inside here. Alright, so if the username is nothing or the username length is less than 3, then we want to throw out a message box to the user. So we'll go message box.show and then the string we want to show. So please enter a username consisting of at least 3 characters. Then we'll go for a column, and then a comma, sorry, and then we'll set the title. We'll just create a default title here. Of an error that has occurred, and then we'll go for message box buttons dot OK, so it just has the OK button, and then we'll go for message box icon dot error, and then we'll close that off with a semicolon, and that will show a message box just saying that the username needs to consist of at least 3 characters. Then we're going to go for an else statement. So if the username is nothing, or the username is less than 3 characters, then it will show this error message. Otherwise, we need to check the password. So if password, again the same, if the password is nothing, or if the password dot length is less than 4. Actually, we'll go with 6, which is a standard size. Then we'll show another error box. So we're just going to copy this, and we're actually going to create a function first. So we're going to go to the top here and create a function. Whoops. So private void throw error string error message, and we'll leave it at that. So then inside this function we're going to create this message box, and we're going to set that to error message. So what this will do is it will take a string that we pass over to this function, and it will just show that inside this message box here with the default buttons, the default error icon, and the default error title. So then we can get rid of these. We're going to copy that, and then we're going to go throw error, open the quotes, paste that, and click enter, and then it's as simple as that to create an error message. Then we're going to do that again for this one. So throw error, and this time it's going to be please enter a password consisting of at least 4 characters, and then we create another error. So then we do another else statement. If the confirmed password is nothing, or the confirmed password does not equal password. So this is a little bit different, and what we're doing here is we are just making sure, in fact we don't even need that. All we need is if confirmed password does not equal password. So if the password box doesn't match the confirmed password box, then they've entered 2 different passwords, or they've missed one out, or something like that. So we throw another error and just let them know that they need to match the passwords. So we'll go, you must enter the same password in the confirmed password box as the original password you entered. Close that off, and then another else statement. And the reason we created that function is because it's just a lot quicker to create an actual error message. We don't need any copy and pasting, we only need to call one function and it will create the same error message but just with different text. So next we need to confirm that the email address is valid. So another if statement if email address equals nothing, or if the email address or if the email address doesn't contain the @ symbol. So this one again is a little bit different. Again, we're checking to make sure that the email address is valid and that there's something actually in there, but we're also checking to make sure that it contains the @ symbol, because all email addresses must contain the @ symbol. So if it doesn't contain that, then it's not going to be a valid email address. Now you could opt to add some more statements in here, such as if it doesn't contain .com, or if it does contain hotmail.com or something like that. You have them options as well, but we're just going to leave it simple for now and do it as that. Again, another error because there's a problem with the form, and this is all part of form validation. So another error, please enter a valid email address to continue. Again, close that off and create another else statement. Next, a telephone number. So if telephone number equals nothing, then we throw another error. And we'll go, please enter your telephone number to continue. Again, close that off and create another else statement. And then we need the country. So we'll go, if the country equals nothing, throw error. Please select your country of residence from the drop down list provided. Again, another else, and we're going to go foreign signature. We're going to leave the foreign signature optional, but next we need to validate that the terms and conditions have been accepted. And I've just noticed a little bit of a typo there, so I'm going to fix that. Then we're going to go back to the code, and we're going to go, what are these called? Agree terms radio. So this one again is a little bit different. We're going to go for if agree terms radio dot checked equals false, and the disagree terms radio dot checked is true, or if the disagree terms radio is checked, or the agree terms radio is false. So what this is doing is it's checking to see if a few scenarios match. So the first scenario will be that they've checked the disagree to the terms and conditions, and they haven't checked the agree terms conditions. The second scenario will be that they've just checked the disagree terms, and the third scenario will be that they haven't checked the agree terms. So we're going to throw another error here. and there we go. So that is pretty much it for that. So we're going to go ahead and just launch this now and just check to make sure everything's validated. So first, please enter a username consisting of at least 3 characters. Okay, so if we enter 2, then it will come up again. If we enter 3, please enter a password. So it's matched that one and it's met all the criteria, so it goes on to the next one. So we're going to go, I'm going to go ahead and type A for the password, and then it will ask, sorry, yeah, A, and then A again, and that's not working for some reason. Let me just double check this. Sorry, that's meant to be 6 characters, so my mistake there. That was just a little typo there because I changed it. So 6 characters there, all A's, and then as you see, you must enter the same password in the confirm password box as the original password you entered. So I'm going to enter the same again. Please enter a valid email address to continue. But if I enter a different one, so I'm going to go ASASAS, and then it's, as you can see, it's invalid because it doesn't match the top one. So that's a way to make sure that they always enter the same password. Next, we're going to want to create. Next, we're going to want to validate the email. So, as you can see, that came up that the email address was blank. If we enter some random details without the @ sign, it will ask you to enter a valid email address. If we enter the @ symbol, it will ask you to validate your telephone number. So, as you can see, that all works there. I'm going to change these. And telephone number. And whoops. So then it asks us to confirm the country. So we're going to go GB, there we go. And then it asks us to proceed. In order to proceed, we must read and agree to the standard terms and conditions. If we select do not accept, it tells us again. And if we select accept, then we get nothing because everything on the criteria has been met. So next, because all the criteria has been met here, we're going to add a little comment there just to say that it's been met. So next we're going to want to actually show the console window. So we set the console window.visible to true, and then we're going to output all those details into the console window. So what we want to do is start outputting all these details. So starting with the username and working our way down. Now I'm just going to copy and paste these and have them on my other screen just so I can see what we actually need to output. I'm just going to move this over there. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start outputting this now. So console window dot append text, and then we're going to add the username, and we're going to add a break here just so we can see a bit more clearly, and then we're going to go console window dot append text environment dot new line, and what this will do is it will add the username into the console window and then create a new line, but we're actually going to create something before then and go username plus, so we're going to add some text, so username and then a space and then the actual username. We're going to copy and paste this and just go ahead and do this for all of the fields. So password, that will be password, that will be the confirm password, that will be the email address, telephone number, country, foreign signature, agree to the terms, and the monthly newsletter. For the monthly newsletter, just above here, we're going to go ahead and create a new string newsletter equals nothing, and then we're going to go if the monthly newsletter section or monthly newsletter selection dot checked equals true, then newsletter equals yes, else newsletter equals no. And then we're going to change these. And email address, and telephone number, and then we're going to go selected country, and country, foreign signature, we're actually going to create another string here, string foreign sig equals nothing, another if statement, if foreign signature equals nothing, then we're going to set that foreign sig equals not entered, else foreign sig equals foreign signature. And what this will do is if the foreign signature is blank, because we've gave them the option to do that, then we'll just set it to not entered just to let us know. And then if there is something in there, then it will just set it to what they've set it as, and then we'll set that to foreign sig. So we've got username, password, confirmed password, email address, telephone number, selected country, foreign signature, and then agreed to terms and conditions. We're going to create another if or else statement. Whoops. String agreed to terms equals nothing. that will never actually output, but never mind. We could actually just go, we'll save some space here and just get rid of this. I didn't realise that, or rather it slipped my mind. Agree to terms, yes. And joined monthly newsletter, and that's going to be newsletter. And then we're going to create one more, without a new line. Whoops. Form submission date, and date time dot now dot to string, and then we're going to go DD double capital M and YYYY space H MM TT, and then we're going to close that off. And whoops, there we go. Okay, so why is that giving me an error? Sorry, there we go. Okay, so that should work now, so we're going to test that out. So the coder, you'll see this password in a minute, it's just YouTube. I'm not going to put my password there. We're going to agree to terms, sign up to the monthly newsletter, current country GB, submit, and there we go. So that's outputted all of those details with the date and the time of the submission date. So as we see, the coder, password YouTube, email address, telephone number, selected country, foreign signature, agree to the terms and conditions, yes, join monthly newsletter, yes, and the form submission date, 10th of January 2018 at 7:04 AM. So as you can see, that is how we perform form validation and output things onto the screen. Now, before we wrap it up, we can reset that, and as you can see, the console window disappears. But before we wrap it up, we can also output content into a message box, or copy content from one text box to another, and I'll show you just how to do that now, just really quickly. So we'll add another button, and we'll go down there. And we'll just go print username to message box, and double click that, and we'll go if username box.text equals nothing, throw error. We can actually just copy and paste this here. There we go. Else message box.show username box.text your selected username is message box buttons.ok, and then message box icon dot information, and there we go. So that will print the selected username or the entered username to a message box. We'll add another button we'll go there for that one. Copy password to confirm password box. And then we'll double click on that, and we'll copy again. We'll copy the validation for just the first password. Just like that. Paste. If password box.text or if password box.length. Whoops. And then we will set confirm password box.text equals password box.text, and let's just try that. Whoops, where's the error? Right. Sorry about that. And then you see that has entered there, and it's copied it directly, so it automatically skips that, and that works. And then we will print the username to a message box, and there we go. Alright guys, that pretty much wraps it up for this session. I hope this helps you to learn a little bit more about form validation and printing text onto the screen, onto message boxes, into text boxes and things like that. A nice short tutorial, but hopefully very informative. Again, like I say, I am going to be ignoring or rather taking into consideration the fact that the users and my viewers don't want music on the programming tutorials, so I won't be doing that anymore. As always, leave me a comment down in the comment section. I do read them all, of course. I don't always get time to read them all, to reply to them all, but I do read them all. So please feel free to leave me a comment down in the comment section box. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you want to see me do in the future. If you need any help with any particular aspect of programming, I will do my best to help, as always. Like if you liked it, dislike it if you disliked it. As always, please hit that subscribe button. I am trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, so if you could help out by hitting subscribe, that would be great. Thank you. And that is it for now. So until next time guys, I will see you all again soon. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.